We've got an exciting broadcast today. We had a question that came in overnight on our Facebook page, and we're going to address that. It's I think, one of the most important questions that a person could ask, and it really gets into our subject matter this particular week: Christ alone. What has Christ accomplished for us through his death, burial, and resurrection? And he's just the most compelling figure that's ever walked this earth. You can go throughout history, and there's some incredible historical figures. There are people that did incredible things. They're heroes. There's all sorts of folks, but they all pale in comparison to Jesus Christ. And we talked about that yesterday. There's no other name under heaven by which men can be saved. Jesus is the only name. And that's why Paul went about his missionary journeys preaching Christ and Christ alone. We see that in his second letter to the Corinthians. So he's defending his apostleship. When he came to Corinth, he came with humility, with not real persuasive words. He just simply laid out the message, kind of a black and white deal. Here's Jesus. Let me reason with you from the scriptures. Let me tell you that the prophets of old talked about Jesus coming. Well, he was born in Bethlehem. He grew up in Nazareth. He ministered in Capernaum and around the Sea of Galilee. He showed up in Jerusalem time to time. He was crucified at the hands of Pontius Pilate and the Roman soldiers. He was plotted against by the religious leaders. He was crucified, dead, and buried, and then on the third day he was raised back to life. And that's how he delivered the message. Well, there were folks that came in after Paul, and certainly there were people in Corinth there before Paul who were orators, who were charismatic, who were polished, who were strong, who were persuasive. And boy, these folks came in before and after Paul and made a lot of people in Corinth question Paul's apostleship, question Paul's ministry. And so these letters, his first letter and his second letter, much of it is to defend his ministry, the fact that God sent him as an apostle to deliver the good news of Jesus Christ. And in this second letter, in chapter 3, he talks about the good news of Jesus Christ as it relates to the new covenant. The old covenant, something that he was very familiar with, came with glory because it was given by God, but that glory paled in comparison to the glory of the new covenant. That ministry of the old covenant was a ministry of condemnation, a ministry of judgment, and a ministry of death. But this new covenant is a ministry of righteousness and a ministry of life and a ministry of freedom. So it's just night and day difference between the two as far as their purpose and their end result is concerned. One bound us up in sin and death. The other set us free and gave us new life. Man, what a contrast. And it's this new one that has the eternal glory. And why does it have the eternal glory? Because it's pinned to the finished work of Jesus Christ. He ushered it in through his shed blood. He ratified it, and he gave us this new covenant. So it's all about Jesus. And that's why in chapter 4 he said this: "For what we proclaim is not ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord." And we're simply your servants for Jesus' sake. So what was Paul's message? Paul's message was Jesus. That's who he preached. That's what he preached. That was the only thing he ever wanted to preach once he met Jesus personally. And so wherever he went, he delivered the message concerning Jesus. Now, we've had people here of late send in Facebook posts to us and emails to us saying, man, you need to disregard Paul. He was a false prophet.
Oh, my.
Well, he wasn't a false prophet. He delivered the message that God gave him to deliver, and that message was the message concerning Jesus, the fact that Jesus Christ is Lord. If there's any other message being delivered from pulpits today, from radio broadcasts, from television ministries, other than the fact that Jesus Christ is Lord, it's not a message from God.
Right.
This is the message that saves. This is the message that lifts up. This is the message that ushers us into the eternal glory of this new covenant. So, as Paul preached Christ, that's what we endeavor to do as well,
Yes.
to preach Christ as Lord and nothing else.
Nothing else.